moment here on the way to our live audience. Mikey, good morning.
Vinny, good morning to you, Vinny. Good morning to all our watchers and listeners and viewers. And we introduce ourselves like this. He's New York Vinny. He's in Seattle, Washington. And we talk every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday like this.
And he's Michael Knight, and he's in Pasadena, California. And we also talk every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 10:10. And usually, when that all happens, you are the beneficiary of the end result of a radio program that may
It has
infuriate you.
pictures. It's a radio with pictures, and
Yes.
consequently, we are here to bring you both information and entertainment. You see, not necessarily in that order. But I'd like to begin this Friday with a question for you, Vinny.
Okay, I'm always up for a question. Shoot.
Do you know who the Seattle Sea Dragons are?
Yes, I do.
Who are they? For
They
the
are.
people,
Is it XFL or USFL?
you're absolutely right. XFL.
XFL. XFL. It's our XFL team. All hail the Sea Dragons.
And they have a green sea dragon on sort of an orange helmet. It's a flashy look. And guess what? Guess when they start playing?
I'm gonna say next weekend,
Tomorrow.
tomorrow.
Tomorrow's the first game's on ESPN.
Yes,
Streaming.
dear.
I don't think they do it live on the broadcast. Maybe they do, but I know they stream them.
Well, that's I have a good friend that was into it because it started actually before COVID started and had to stop. I believe had to stop once COVID, started happening. And I, America asked the question: do we need more football?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm perfectly satiated with the amount of football that we get.
Well,
I don't know that I'll watch it or anything. I'll probably watch one game just to see what it's all about.
see
But
if they have some talent. Did they have strange rules? I wonder.
I don't remember because I don't think I watched the game though, or I might have watched part of one game or something like that. But I didn't pay much attention to it, to be honest with you.
Where did
It
the Sea
seemed
Dragons play?
um well, they got a couple of choices.
They could play at UW,
Yeah, they could.
make a little money for the school.
Yeah, but if they play at UW, isn't there a rule that you have to have a Ewart as a quarterback?
We can work on that. How many Hewers do we have to pick from? Can it be any Hewer?
I think if you go up in them hills, Michael, you'll find a lot of Ewarts up there. So yeah, I mean, I think that could be one of the things. I guess they could play at Lumen Field. I think that's what they're calling it this week, Lumen Field. But again, I think the RV show is there this weekend. So I don't know. Although I would find it entertaining if
If they,
they
they did
ran
both.
around the RVs. Yeah, I mean, you set
Yes,
them
yes.
RVs up at the half, the 50-yard line.
You got something there. I remember that this reminds me of a bit we used to do on KRQR, where we had the simultaneous running of the Talladega 500 and the Preakness with cars and horses on the same track.
There you go.
And our surf reporter, Kirby Ferris, you remember Kirby?
Yeah.
Kirby would always win. He was the jockey riding his horse, which was called Young Brunt. And here comes Kirby Ferris on Young Brunt. And he won every race. There were accidents, there were unavoidable deaths, there was tragedy, there was remarkable heroism, but always Kirby winning on the nag known as Young Grunt.
Wow. Um,
You had to be there.
no relation to Young Gravy, huh?
No, I'm not
Okay.
certain. I'm not entirely certain what a young gravy is. Is that a
Well,
food stuff?
Young Gravy is a recording artist, an up and coming star who raps about, who talks about old women, not old women, older women. Because to him, I mean,
No,
he looks like he's about 24, so probably everybody's an older woman.
so this
Um,
is one of his fixations.
yes, one of his fixations. So Jimmy Kimmel fixed him up with Aunt Nudgy. I forget Aunt's real name, but the folks at Jimmy Kimmel Live, which is never live, decided that they would get Young Gravy and send Aunt Nudgy and Young Gravy out on a date.
And where did they go? Trader Vic's, maybe?
Some restaurant. There was tables, and food.
That's a good sign. If you're in a restaurant and they have tables, that's always a good sign.
It looked like kind of a place you might expect from Chuck Woolery and
Oh
that
God, no.
show, The Love Connection, where he would be
No,
back in
no.
2 and 2. Um,
I don't think we're you I lost my appetite when you said Chuck Woolery. That's all I'm gonna say about that.
all right. The Seattle Sea Dragons play their home games at Lumen Field.
Hey, so they will be playing among the RVs and the 18 wheelers.
And let's see. Oh, yeah, that's right. Now I remember this kind of thing. Uh, they were founded by Vince McMahon.
Oh, that's right. The wrestling
Right. And his
magnate.
Alpha, and now are owned by Dwayne Johnson's Alpha Aquaco.
Really? Dwayne
Yeah.
Johnson owns
Dwayne
them.
Johnson's involved. So I
Well,
guess,
aloha, Rock.
yeah, I guess they got something going on here. And they must feel like they have a good shot at something because they'd like to charge you $24.99 for a T-shirt.
Is it a cool shirt?
It doesn't show a picture here.
Oh no, you wouldn't want to see it if you were paying $25 for it.
Well, I'm just looking at the Google page here, but they seem to have, let's see, Seattle, um, D.C. Defenders, the Houston Roughnecks, the St. Louis Battlehawks.
Battlehawks. That's kind of a cool name
I
in a
guess we're
way.
running out of. Yeah, I don't know, Mikey.
What's the Orlando team? The Orlando Flatlanders?
Yeah,
The Orlando DeSantis Warriors.
I like the Orlando DeSantis. That actually kind of hits a. Let's see. So Jim Haslett is the head coach, a familiar name to football fans.
It doesn't ring a bell for me.
And he coached the Saints for a number of years.
Before Sean Payton?
Yeah, let's see. I'm trying to see. Yeah, he was hired as the head coach of the New Orleans Saints back in 2000, and he also served as the head coach for the Florida Tuskers
Huh.
of the USF. Oh no, the UFL. Let's see. He's a Western PA boy. Indiana University of Pennsylvania.
I thought of you yesterday when I heard that Fetterman was back in the hospital.
Yes,
I hope
yeah.
that he's all right. I want him to pull through and be a vital part of our Senate.
Yes, I posted something early this morning about Senator Fetterman. Uh, Mikey, depression is
A real thing.
a tough thing. I've made no secret about the fact that I suffer from it. In hopes that maybe if somebody hears that, they'll get help. Uh, I can't
Well,
imagine that Fetterman would have gone through what he has gone through between the stroke, the way the Republicans went after him
yeah.
after the stroke, and then all of the other crap that we hear, and not have some kind of reaction to that somehow. And I'm just going to say right now that being depressed is not a sign of weakness. The sign of weakness is when you don't go and do something about it.
You know, I had it explained to me this way, and you probably may agree with this. We are chemical beings. We're made up of chemicals. When we get out of balance, it doesn't work. And there are solutions to that imbalance that are medicinal. And men, especially, have to learn how to just go take that pill. And if you could change your mood by taking a medicine, wouldn't you do it? Wouldn't you, in an effort to regain your balance, wouldn't you go for that? And when it's put to you simply, you can take medicine and make that better. Then it becomes something that's not incurable or insurmountable.
Right. But what we have always done in this country, and listen, I've been as guilty of it as anybody else, is we look at mental illness as something to be ashamed of. Like if you see it's like if you see somebody walking down the street with a pair of crutches and a broken leg or a messed up leg or some kind of physical deformity, usually the only people that make fun of somebody like that is stupid people. And
Which we have
most
plenty of.
people, yeah, and most people will usually say something to that stupid person like "shut the hell up," or something to kind of correct. But if you call somebody, you know, a, a retard, up until a few years ago, that was kind of an accepted thing. Oh, that's retarded. I still got friends that do it.
Friends from Boston do it best because they say they're retarded.
Yeah, yeah, and I've known people who've been afflicted with mental retardation have been smarter than probably 99% of my friends.
It can be a gift of sorts.
Yeah, it affects. But the thing is that when somebody has a mental illness, and mental retardation can be physical as well as mental, I know. But when somebody has schizophrenia, somebody has bipolar, somebody has some kind of mental ailment that doesn't always show up right away. We are immediately, many people are just jumping off the trigger, jumping at the bit, chomping at the bit
Yeah.
to make fun of them, to discount them, to tell 50 years ago, Tom Eagleton had to withdraw from the vice presidential spot on the Democratic ticket
Because he had been
because
treated.
he'd been treated for depression.
Yeah.
And it's wrong. It's always been wrong. It's something that, listen, do you think that if somebody's depressed, they want to be depressed?
And on the other side, Vinny, you take a guy like Vladimir Putin. Vladimir, how do you feel today? I feel great. Ever suffer from depression or the feeling that you've done it all wrong? The feeling that you've screwed it up and somehow have made a mess of things? No. I'm doing exactly what I should be doing. The world is a better place to have me in it. I got a war planned. As soon as I'm finished with this one, I got another war planned. It's all here. I got an outline of how we're going to do it. No, I feel great. I'm absolutely motivated every morning when I hop out of bed. I'm Vladimir Putin. I'm screwing the world. I'm destroying parts of civilization, and I really feel good about it.
Yeah.
And
Well,
there's a guy you can vote for.
that's a narcissistic
Yeah,
disorder.
exactly.
There's actually a name for that. There's actually there's narcissism is something that people get to and can get treated for.
And in our business, we meet a lot of those
In
guys.
our business, you have to be one almost. I mean, it's probably right there on the job application at the
Well, it
top.
couldn't hurt. It couldn't hurt.
CBS Incorporated. Are you a narcissist? Yes. All right, top of the pile.
Have
So
you
if
committed financial crimes? Yes. Come on
yeah,
in.
come on in. So if you want to make fun of John Fetterman, or you want to, and believe you me, I've had people that have done it already.
Oh, sure.
When Fetterman had won the election, I posted something because I'd been a Fetterman guy for a long time. I mean, since he. Matter of fact, I was one of the people that even before he ever said he was going to run, encouraged him to run because I thought he would be a great regular guy senator. You know, the kind of person that gets a feeling on the finger of the pulse of what the average middle class person living in Western Pennsylvania is thinking about and talking about and doing.
Vinny used to live in Pennsylvania, so he knows about Fetterman and watched his rise to fame.
Yeah, yeah. He used to be the mayor of Braddock, Pennsylvania, which is just right next door to Pittsburgh. It really is Pittsburgh. Anyway, so to see the way he was tossed about by Doctor Oz, a doctor no less, and Doctor Oz's staff, and how he was ridiculed because he went out and looked for help for his, had the stroke and then went back out and campaigned, and they were expecting him to just hand over the election to Oz. And the guy fought through it. His wife fought through it. His kids fought through it. The people that cared about him fought through it. So if they think that this is going to be an easy walk away, that he's just going to give up and put his hands up and say, well, I made a mistake here. I should have never run. You got another guess coming.
No, it's not going to happen like that.
It's not going to happen like that. They're going to have to carry Fetterman out of the Senate in a box for him to give up that seat. He's just not going to do it unless it's so, what happens to him is so bad that he's just, he can't function at all. And believe you me, you can function when you have depression.
No, yeah, you can.
So
you don't enjoy it, but you can function.
right, yeah. You don't lose your capacity to think. You don't lose your capacity to reason. It's not that kind of disease. You don't become any less smarter than you was. As a matter of fact, I think sometimes it slows you down enough the way you become wiser. You see things in a different, more soft perception of what you might see. So I'm rooting for him. Like I said, I put my picture up with his T-shirt on, and I've gotten to talk to his wife a couple of times, Giselle, and I just hope nothing for the best for him and his family. And don't worry about the idiots out there. Don't worry about those people. Go out and take care of yourself, and come back and be the senator that we think you could be. That people that stand behind him, not just in his state, but all around this country.
Well, we need him because the vote in the Senate is so narrow, and he's an intelligent vote for the right kind of government. We need that.
Yeah, I mean, we need any kind of good person that we can get in the Senate. It's really it's a clown show. And
what about George Santos? Would he? You think he'd make a good senator because he's made a smashing representative? I think he's ready for the Senate.
Well, he was the senator from Pennsylvania for 1967 to 1973, I believe.
The glory years. Everybody
the glory years.
Senator Santos.
Right, and then they brought in Scranton.
And who was the idiot that used to be a talking head for CNN? The senator
Rick. Rick Santorum.
Yep. God.
Well, even close with the names.
I remember him, but I do not miss him.
He was insufferable. He
was insane.
He was one of those people that you just knew that what he was saying was just a whole pile of bull, and that he didn't even believe it.
Tucker Carlson.
Right. Yeah, how about the little fun party those guys are having this morning over at Fox?
Let's get together, have some coffee, and talk about our legal problems. Tucker, you go first.
I hope they all burn over there. There's nobody over there. There's not one person over there that I would really spend, if I didn't have to, spend any time listening to. Certainly not Tucker Carlson and Bill O'Reilly and all of these clowns
O'Reilly's
that
long gone.
yeah, well, yeah, but he's still, he's still around. And when he was there, I don't know, what is he? I just saw him pitching something the other day. I don't know, it might have been Gold or I don't know, something on cable TV he was pitching. Just the idea that there's just nobody there that you watch and you say this person is a caring, compassionate human being.
Or is even put two and two together and can stand by any of their reports. They have one set of beliefs. Can you imagine getting up in the morning knowing everything you're going to say tonight is not just wrong, but a purposeful lie to unbalance the power of the government? That is that's a seditious
Yeah,
enterprise. And how come Rupert Murdoch maintains his licenses under those conditions? Remember what a license used to be?
yeah. Well, he spreads around a lot of money. If there's any proof that you need that money will buy you anything in this world, Rupert Murdoch, again, now it's easy to say, well, how does he keep his licenses? How does he do this? How does he do that? But remember, we're coming off a century, the end of last century, where they didn't want to let a Japanese guy buy a baseball team because he wasn't American. They
But they
didn't want to let
let
the
but,
Japanese buy Rockefeller Center.
but they let Rupert Murdoch own downtown Manhattan in a lot of ways, and also papers in Great Britain, Australia. He's an international feature, but he's not an American. He's not a citizen, and he affects through his work and his intent. He affects the outcome of elections, the beliefs of
Yeah.
American people, the unbalance of truth and fiction, and he makes a profit by lying to the American people.
Yeah, you can't tell me uh, uh, that this guy is fair and honest and truthful and has the interest of America at his heart. And listen, I don't care if you have the interest of America at heart. If you want to be anti-American, you want to publish a newspaper and sink your money into it. That's one thing. But tell the truth. Tell what's really happening, not the world according to the way you believe it is, so that we can get all of these people who have no, are looking for leadership or looking for something to go along with them.
The funny thing about Fox is I heard it described the best way ever yesterday, and I wish I could remember who did it. Fox News takes the worst of America and amplifies their fears and tells them that they're right. You hate black people? You're afraid of Latinos? You're right. You should be. You're afraid of walking down the street? Yeah, you should
Yeah,
be afraid to walk down the street. The people out there are going to get you. They'll take your wallet, they'll take your wife. Are you afraid of the way the country's going and what the future looks like? Yeah, those fears are real, and we can amplify them. We can make them worse. We can make you worry about it to the point where, would you please come back and watch this again tomorrow night? Because I have more news on how the world is changing and how it's affecting you negatively. I am substantiating everything you're afraid of. I'm multiplying it in your head. I'm multiplying it in reality. I'm lying to you. I'm doing it intently. And my intention is not just to lie to you, but to turn it into a profit. It's no good just to lie. If I can lie to you and make money doing it, now we got something. Now we got something more than just my pillow.
if I could sell you a set of Ginsu knives
How much would you pay?
while I destroy your value system, while I destroy your belief system, while I make sure that everything I report is slanted in one particular way, hey,
Or I take
that's America.
I take a voting machine company. I lie about them. I disparage their accuracy. I try to destroy their stock value, and the result is they did devalue the stock. They did besmirch their
Yeah.
reputation. What they didn't expect was $1 billion suit to come down the pike right after them. And the in Discovery, that's where we have all these emails now between the Fox anchors and the Fox executives and the Fox bank all in together, all in cahoots, all realizing that they were lying, happy to do it, agreeing that they were going to continue to do it, and then doing it, lying about this company to the point where this is how we'll get Biden out. This is how we'll get Trump back in. This is how we'll upset the balance of power. This is how we'll do an illegal act, but make it look like patriotism.
It's shocking, but listen, they know they know who clicks on what page. And
Yeah.
I don't know this for a fact, but Michael, I would bet you anything that you wanted that if we got a Scarborough quality and quantity survey of what pages were clicked on most in the New York Post, we would get page 6.
Yeah.
We would get the seditious and juicy gossip about people that may be true, may not be true, but we're going to print it here anyway. The innuendo, the stuff that people used to whisper because they didn't want anybody to hear them say it, and the Post has turned it into page 6.
Page 6 heard. Page 6 has come to believe. Page 6 is of the opinion. Did you hear the one about Vinnie? We don't know where Vinnie is, but it says that he's in Bimini with a car, with somebody's car. He's stolen Jay Leno's car collection and selling the cars one at a time off the island.
Poor Jay Leno, man. That poor guy.
You know
I
what
feel
he needs?
for that dude.
He needs a driver.
He needs an airbag, is what he needs. It's not nice to laugh, but because the guy seems to be getting hurt all the time. But man, if I was Jay, I'd be thinking about getting a driver. Getting somebody. Poor guy is always seems to be getting in.
What sort of driver did you pick? Well, I got a registered nurse first.
Yeah, I think at the very least, you ought to go out and buy one of those presidential ambulances that follow in the motorcade.
That's right. His support staff.
Yeah, get some support staff or get something going there. That's a sad thing. This poor guy. I think he burned himself in a motorcycle, not a motorcycle, but a garage fire that involved a motorcycle. I don't know, 2 months ago, 3 months ago.
And then he got in an accident after
And then
that.
he got into an accident after that. The poor guy is just broken up all over the place. And
I wonder if
burned
he's
and
driving.
scarred.
I wonder if Jay Leno has a Tesla, because there are 382,000 of them across America that have been recalled, thanks to the fact that they have a inboard automatic pilot system that does not work.
Yeah. That's right on the. Well, Mikey, with these systems, I'm not sure yet if it doesn't work or the people that are running it don't know how to work it. See, that's the interesting thing here is with all this technical stuff. The average person that buys a car, how much do they know about this stuff? Has to be said a certain way. It has to be. Listen, there's going to be no substitution for human interaction. You can run all of this AI at us that you want, but the reality is, I don't trust it all. Do you?
Well, what was the event in San Francisco up on golf? It was like golf and Golden Gate, where
Oh yeah, all of the cars came. All of the.
all the automatic driving cars showed up in one spot and just sat in the intersection.
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
weird.
Well, there was. I don't know if you saw CNN last night, but there's this one, the new Microsoft AI, I guess that they've installed in Bing, which is their browser, which
Yeah.
is. And I mention that only because I know one person that ever used Bing,
And
and
what did they install now? What's
they
the new?
worked for Microsoft.
Yeah.
They had this now artificial intelligence component to Bing. It's a chat AI thing, and you can chat with it and ask it questions and so on and so forth until while you're browsing. Which actually on the surface sounds like a great idea if you're lonely. You sit there and you type questions. Well, anyway, I guess the Bing chat thing started telling this guy that he's in love with him, that he wants him to leave his wife, and
And
all this other stuff.
you won't find your car in the driveway because I drove it to Golf and Golden Gate in the middle of the night,
Right.
and I left it in the intersection.
And it's sitting out there with 25 other cars that are just going boom, 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 boom. It reminds me, the subway doors in the
Yes.
New York City subway have been run by computers for a long time. And invariably, if you're watching the subway doors, they do this thing usually in the cold winter months and usually up on the L, where they'll come together and open up again, come together and open
Yeah.
up again, and come together, and the train can't move until
Till they're
they're
closed.
closed, and they've stayed closed out of 2 seconds, 3 seconds, whatever it is. The train can't go anywhere. So if they go like this, the train's not going anywhere, and it's always something that mesmerizes me for some reason. I just sit there and I look at it and I say, okay, when are these things going to close? And you can hear them all up and down the train.
Oh
They're
yeah.
making the same noise. All the doors on that side of the train are doing the same thing. And that's artificial intelligence. Well,
Yeah.
you
The
know,
subway doors, by the way, come close, break your rib, and then say, "Yeah, come on in. Come on, we'll
yeah.
take you to Saint Vinnie's Hospital."
In the old days, you used to have a conductor, and he'd stick his head out from the window and push a button, and those doors would close. He'd push another button, and those doors. But they felt that wasn't quite enough.
They needed a machine to help.
They needed some artificial intelligence to help that. And then they decided, and I think Bart was like the leader of this, the San Francisco Bay Area Rapid Transit System was a leader in no motorman in the car. Nobody, just a computer running it.
No, I don't go for that.
Well, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, they had to put somebody in there in case of anything, but
Yeah.
they were not running the train. The train was being completely run by computer. They made the stops and did this and that and the other thing all on its own, all by artificial intelligence, all by computer. Nothing.
When they make announcements in BART, can you understand what they're saying, or is it like New York where you haven't the faintest idea what they're talking about?
It's like New York. Yeah, they spent $39 million on a subway car, and they can't spend an extra $5 for the better speakers. Yeah, I don't think they want you to know where you're going. I
Or
think there's a
why they have something to say. It's important that they're going to say it, but they don't want anyone to understand or come to grips with the truth.
ladies and gentlemen, please
Yeah,
I've never. Matter of fact, it was better in the old days when the guy just used to yell it through the cars.
at least he had some idea where he was going and had been there before and could tell you where they were headed. We're going uptown. Well, I knew that. This is the express. Oh, damn! I needed the local.
I needed the local. Can you push me out at my spot?
Have you ever walked in the subway down on the tracks
Yeah.
as a kid?
As a kid, yeah, I can't remember the last time I did it, but it was I was probably 16, 17 years old, something like that.
The perfect age to be hitting the tunnel.
Well, I think the last time I walked on the tracks, I actually walked on the L tracks. I
Oh,
think, yeah, I think I actually went down. I forget why I did it too, but I
had to be,
walked
but it
down
had to be done.
onto the L tracks for something, and I just came back up. And but I've walked through the tunnel. Yeah, there are tunnels in Manhattan that aren't used.
Right.
And you can walk from, like, one of them used to be at the end of 34th Street, and it was a tunnel that kind of went off into a subway that hadn't been used in years, and this was in the 60s. People
Wow.
used to live down there. People used to, they had like the bums would sleep down there. Excuse me, now they're homeless people.
Unhoused.
Unhoused, right? That's the new one, unhoused. Um, but yeah, I've walked down on the train tracks, on the tracks. And, I mean, you always have to look out. I was always afraid of hitting that third rail.
Yeah.
I always and I really had a fear of the subway tracks because I saw this movie many years ago, Pay or Die, where this Italian police captain was pushed down onto the tracks, and he had to get up and like stand between the tracks and jump over the third rail, and the train came close to him. It was Ernest Borgnine that was playing the part, and seeing Borgnine in the subway like that just scared the living crap out of me.
Not going to happen. Not doing it.
So
Well, in keeping with people operating equipment that they don't know how to use, we found out yesterday that the space shuttle, which has been suffering from a coolant leak, was waiting for the rescue mission to be launched by the Russians to go up and get the two Russians and the one American cosmonaut off the space shuttle. And the Russians announced yesterday, on the same day that an MSNBC general said that Russia is no longer a great world power, they have decimated their financial setting in the world. Their army is a joke, and it's on its knees, and they're using prisoners, untrained prisoners, to fight their war. And they announced yesterday that they don't have a rescue rocket, and it's going to be 6 more months before they can get anybody up there. And even then, who's to say that the rocket's going to work on launch or in orbit? So we're going to have to rescue them ourselves, it looks like. We're going to have to go to the space shuttle. And the Russians have an option. We can take you home, or you can live over here. We'll get you a little apartment in Louisville, Kentucky. How would you like that? Witness protection.
To the space station?
The space shuttle station, the one that's in orbit, has been suffering from a coolant leak. They have to get the crew out of there because it's just old equipment. They don't have the machines. They don't have the parts to fix it in space. So it was the Russians' job to send up a rescue team, a rescue rocket, rendezvous, bring everybody home. And we thought that they were getting ready to do it. But yesterday they revealed that they don't have the equipment or the rocket or the wherewithal to do it. And they won't have it for another 6 months. Now, these guys were supposed to be in space for a total of 6 months. So they're doubling their time without notice. Yesterday, they found out that they're not coming home, that we have no way to get them home, that there is no rescue rocket coming, and that they're going to be up there for an additional 6 months or longer. Now, what they're going to eat and who's going to deliver the paper and who's going to bring milk to the doorstep of the shuttle, that I can't tell you. But I do know that the Russians have taken their spot as a leading country in the world and squandered it on this stupid war with Ukraine. And now they don't have an army to fight the war. They don't have a space program to rescue their own cosmonauts. And they've left us hanging. And they let a lot of people believe all this time that they were readying the equipment to go, and then announced that they're not going at all.
Huh. Well, that's well. Well, I guess we have. I mean, you have what's his name? Bezos, and you have Elon Musk with with programs that have put people into space that have gone up,
including William Shatner.
Right. So I mean, I guess, and also Virgin. The guy from Virgin
Right.
is also got a space program. So between those three, I would have to think that we would be able to come up with, if it were an emergency, as this appears to be, some way to get that rocket, to get that spacecraft up to the space shuttle.
And what are they
It's not
going
the
to
shuttle; it's the station.
Yeah, right. The space station, the International Space Station. And what are they going to do for food for the next 6 months?
Well,
They're gonna have to eat space rice.
according to this to the story I'm reading here, and I don't know. I'll have to read more about it. Um, it looks like they just sent a cargo ship up there last week. Unless that's the ship that they said they're not gonna send. But the robotic Progress 83 freighter lifted off atop a Soyuz rocket from the Russian-run Baikonur Cosmodrome. I like that.
I like
In
that.
Kazakhstan on Thursday at 1:15 a.m. So if all goes as planned, according to Plan Progress 83, which is carrying about 3 tons of food and other supplies, will chase the International Space Station for 2 days, eventually docking with the orbiting lab on Saturday, February 11th, for a 6-month stay.
Did they bring
So
the hot Louisiana chicken and pickles like
I
I
don't,
asked?
I don't know what they brought, but it seems that they have food. Again, I don't
That's
know.
good news. That's good news.
I'm just reading this. I don't know what this website is, space.com. I don't know.
That's reliable.
Um, let's see. Um, It'll replace another Soyuz that was damaged by an apparent micrometeoroid strike in mid-December. That that other Soyuz has been declared unfit to carry astronauts unless it is an emergency evacuation of the station. So
I
there's
know
a
that's the
ship
sound of
up there.
that they can't use.
It appears that they can't use, but if there were an emergency, um, I guess they could, instead of dying up there, they could jump in this thing and
And
take
just
it back
and
down.
just and just die in reentry.
Yeah, die on reentry. I'm not. I haven't read through the story enough to know, but it. Listen, for my money right now, I tell the Russians until you stop this war,
No
nothing,
more, nothing. Just nothing.
nothing, nothing. We don't take you up in a spaceship. We don't take you down in a spaceship. We don't do anything.
We don't loan you our spaceship. No, none of that.
No cup of sugar, no nothing. Until you stop this insanity. I don't know why we continue. Especially who was the clown? Wasn't it the commander of the Soviet space program or something like that that said at the beginning of the war, well, we don't know if we'll bring your people back or not.
Yeah. What are you gonna know?
Well, that's an act of war in my book, isn't it?
That's murder.
Yeah, I mean that's not well. The Russians haven't shown themselves to be very sensitive to that. But if that's your attitude, then you're basically saying you can't trust them. Part of the whole deal here is you have to be able to trust the other people. How the hell do you trust the Russians right now?
Especially when they put polonium in your tea. By the way,
Yeah.
you can put polonium in their tea too, as a matter of fact. So there's that.
Well, we're the good guys. We don't do that kind of stuff, do we?
I don't know. I don't know how far down the dark road to perdition we would go. But if it was a black ops CIA thing, you darn tootin' we do it. And
Yeah.
the Putin is now flying an airplane. He's taking a train everywhere.
Is he? Yeah. I wouldn't fly on an airplane if I was him either.
Every time I take off, I feel like, yeah, that was a lousy idea. What am I
I
doing up in the
yeah.
air?
If I was Putin, I wouldn't be up in an airplane. I don't know if I was Putin, I'd probably be locked in my Doika there or whatever it is, my Shevska.
Well, no, wait, what do they call him? Schmutka.
No,
No,
Doika. No,
a,
what do they
a,
call their
a dacha.
dacha? Yes, I'd be locked in my dacha.
They have those. They have small dachas, tiny little ones that are unlivable in Slovakia.
Yes.
They got the idea right, but they got the size all wrong. So they got Dachshunds everywhere, but you can hardly get in them. They're like a Chihuahua would be happy there, but not you.
Well, they have uh, a DOA,
What's that stand for?
Dodgers of America.
Oh,
Yeah, only they
the
have in
club.
Spokane. So you
It's
can go and you can get a reservation
it's a
and
good
you
club.
can get one.
You meet a lot of nice Spopakians that way on the
Yeah,
road.
and you build a little fire in front of the dacha, and you relax and wait for them to put 67 in.
By the way, I mentioned a brand of dog that's not allowed in Slovakia. They don't want any small yappy dogs. No terriers, no chihuahuas, no miniature poodles, no miniature shepherds, no miniature pinchers. None. There's a dog size regulation in Slovakia,
No toy
and
dogs.
they let so many things go by there, but that's the one thing they won't do. No small dogs.
Why?
It has. I think the old president of Slovakia was bitten when he was a kid by a Chihuahua, which he brought on himself by playing with him when he was eating.
Oh yeah, you
And
don't mess. Yeah.
you don't mess with the Chihuahua's food.
What's the first thing your mother tells you when you get a dog? Is don't mess with it while it's eating. Just
Don't
the
ta-
same. It's just like your father. Don't mess with him when he's eating.
don't try to take a bone away from your dad.
You
Do
go
not
over,
do that.
you go over there and go near his plate. You're asking for trouble.
And
you know.
the dogs at least will give you a warning. They see what you're up to and they just go.
Yeah. Daddy ain't gonna give you anything. Yeah, you're not gonna get a
No,
warning from
there will
Daddy.
be no warning.
He's gonna swing, and
And
that's
that's called a Spolpakian warning.
yeah,
When you see the hand coming in your direction, yeah, the back of the hand is on its way. That's how they do it in Slovakia.
yeah. He's just swinging. Yeah. Um.
Oh, I had another story about the Russians.
Yeah. All right.
They're,
Because today Friday is all Russian Day
it's Freaky
on
Friday Day.
Freaky
It has
Fridays.
it has to do with the war in the Ukraine. The Ukrainians are using ammunition at a unbelievable rate.
Right.
So much so that the United States and NATO in combination are having a hard time keeping them armed with the right ammunition. They're using it faster than either us or our NATO allies can make it. So this war is challenging a lot of the things we know about the offense and the defense of war in the 21st century. And can you imagine that the Russian army is being one, beaten, and two, we're using so much ammunition to beat them that we are in danger of running out. Not just the Ukrainians, but us, the suppliers. We're going to have to make it at a new rate,
Well,
and our NATO allies are going to have to help.
there's a lot of big people there in Russia. There's a lot of large. They got a lot of Ivan Dragos there, and I think
Where else can you get one?
it takes big bullets to hit them. I
Yeah.
mean, you can't. A couple of small bullets, 45s or something like that, they'll laugh at you. So I guess you got to use double the ammo power. Now I know they make those. There's 3 plants, I believe, or 4 plants that make those particular bullets, not the weapons, just the bullets,
Right.
because it's a special steel that they have to use, and it's a very complicated. I know one of them is oddly enough in Scranton, Pennsylvania.
You,
Is
that sounds like a joke. Is that a joke?
No, no, it's
Okay.
seriously. There's I think one in Scranton, 2 more in the United States, and one in Canada.
Do they let the Scranton employees smoke? They used to let them smoke in the factory. I guess they don't do that anymore.
Probably not. I couldn't think it would be wise.
Up to a point, it's foolproof. Up to a point.
Yeah, up until you light the match around the gunpowder. But see, I don't think if I read what I was reading right, I don't think that they arm the munitions there. I think the munitions are actually armed at an actual army base.
Wow.
That they produce the shells and then the mechanisms, but they're loaded with the gunpowder and the detonators on an army base. And from there, they're shipped off to wherever they're shipping them to. Who's ever getting them? But no, there's a shortage of not only for the Ukraine, but for us as well. So,
You know what? We could be short on bullets. To tell you the truth, it's been a long time coming. We're using them in our daily unannounced school shootings at such a rate.
right,
Like the guy at Michigan State had 50 clips of 15 shots each. He had
right.
plenty of ammunition.
Yeah. It's not a problem if you want to go to a school and
No, we've
shoot
got plenty.
somebody. No ammunition shortage at all. But if you want to defend the world against communism or whatever kind
Not
of
a problem.
ism it is that Putin is selling or trying to sell, that ain't working out so well.
It's Putinism. He's selling the whole Putin idea.
Well, what is the
I can.
Putin idea that you just
The
shut
Putin
up
idea
and
is, and no matter what your problem is, more Putin solves the problem. We have a problem. We're not getting the bread that we need in some of our eastern provinces. More Putin. Not no. We need more bread. Yeah, but what you're going to get is more Putin. Okay. We need uh, we need cars for all the senators. They're walking around in Moscow. They don't have the cars they used to have. We used to have. What's the name of the big car manufacturer in Russia?
oh, well, you got Lada, and then you have Volga,
I
the
like the Volga.
limos, the
We're
Volga,
waiting
the
for the.
party
We're waiting
guys.
for. Yeah, they
Yeah, the
get a
party
Volga.
guys got the Volgas. Those were the limos, the big black. I think they only came in one color, black.
And did
Um,
they have automatic pilot like Teslas?
no, actually, you didn't even drive those cars. You had to aim them toward. That's why they put those big domes on the top of the buildings.
Where the
So
hell are
that
you
you can,
going?
yeah, I mean,
I'm going to the
because
Ural Mountains.
you can't buy road maps in Russia. State is said we don't want to give people an idea of how to get the hell out of here. So we'll put this dome on top of the building, and you can see it, 50 miles in any direction, and that's how we'll make sure that the people that need to get to this building get here, and they build big windshields.
Can you
You
get a
know,
Volga? Can you get a Volga in the United States? Can you get a Russian car here? Can you get?
I don't. Well, there are some. I mean, you can't buy one. Just go to a Volga dealer. I don't think they. But you can. I know I've seen at least one here. I saw a number of them in Cuba.
Oh
There
yeah.
was, there was a gang of them in Cuba. You can get a Lotta here because it's a Fiat,
Oh, I
really,
see.
and it's just rebadged for Russia.
Can you get a lot of Volga?
You get a lot of something, you got enough money, you get a lot of anything over there. I don't think you can get a lot of Volga, but again, and I don't even know, to be honest with you, I'm not sure that they make the Volga anymore because they were making. General Motors had a plant over there, Renault had a plant over there, and I believe Chrysler had a plant over there. But once the war started, they pulled out.
Because the Hellcat was a very popular car. The Dodge Supercharger
Oh yeah,
orange and red Hellcat.
yeah, oh yeah. Putin had two of them
And he would drive them like in tandem with a foot on each one,
at the
holding them
same time.
with
Yes,
reins on. Yeah.
he'd stand on the hood, and it'd
Yes.
be two Cossacks. I mean, he wouldn't really be driving them. He'd just be showing you that he was powerful enough, more powerful than Barack Obama, because Barack Obama would never stand on the roof or the hood of a car and drive it like a chariot down. What's the main street in Russia?
Commissar Plaza.
Yeah, Bolshevik Boulevard. you know, uh, but Putin would take his shirt off and get on put a pair of shorts on, and it would look like he was surfing.
Well, now he won't take a car or a plane because he feels in danger of his life. So he's riding only in his steel reinforced train car, and that's where he does a lot of his work now because you don't know where he is. He can stay on the move. He can get in touch with you if he needs you, and you can bring your Volga and meet him in Leningrad or St. Petersburg at the train track as he goes by. It'd be like the Kingston Trio song. Well, will he ever return? No,
He'll never return, but his fate is still on our poor old Vladdy. He may ride forever through the streets of Boston. He's the man who'll never return. Mrs. Putin said, Vladdy, would you want your lunch? I'll meet you at Scarborough Fair.
He hands her a cup of borscht.
Yeah, a cup of borscht and a bag full of what's the chemical they use to get rid of people?
Polonium.
Polonium. Yeah, have a little polonium sandwich. Yeah, let me get a polonium with American cheese and mustard.
Did you say sandwich, or sandwich?
No, a sandwich is what you get in Russia. It's sanguine. Oh, Mikey, I don't know. It's a crazy thing over there. I don't know that it's going to get any better. Well, coming up next week is a year.
And when it starts to get unstable, then I think they'll replace him. I think he'll just wake up either dead or in custody.
Well, I sincerely hope that. Although, again, what are you going to get once you get rid of him? What do you get?
You got him, but all his pals think the way he thinks, and now you're in danger of the oligarchs taking over the government.
I'm not sure. I mean, I don't know. I'm not I would love to have somebody that knows a lot about the current structure of Russia. It's hard for me to believe that a lot of people there are thinking the way he's thinking. If they knew the truth, if the truth were put upon them, and they notice that they can't go to the supermarket and get what they used to get. They can't buy gas like they used to buy it. The phone calls don't get out to their friends in America like they used to. I wonder
Hello.
Yeah, I wonder if there's a lot of people that say, what are we doing this for?
Why are we paying these terrible prices and resulting in we're the pariah of the world because of our actions, and we don't want Ukraine. We can barely feed ourselves. We can't take care of them, and we can't kill them. They're killing us.
I mean, the whole thing is senseless. The whole damn thing is an idiot move. It's nothing but an egotistical, a narcissistic move, to try to figure out, to return them to their former glory.
To return Smokey Burgess to second base.
But what is their former glory? What were the 60s glorious for them? When
they're talking about the Stalin years as being the glory years, when he killed 60 million of his own people.
Yeah, I mean, is that what you consider to be glory? If that's what you think is glory, if you think that taking young boys and women, because over there they draft everybody, and putting them in a meat grinder in Ukraine for absolutely no good reason,
and with no training, poor equipment, no food, no training, no protection, no experienced officers who can lead them in the way they need to be led, and they don't go into battle; they just go into suicide mode.
I mean, I would have to think that you could have wet your beak there. You could have said, okay, let's do this or that or the other thing. And in order to avoid this war and the destruction, Zelensky would have come up with some kind of plan.
Zelensky was interviewed by a BBC reporter just within the last couple of days. And he said that there's no point in doing these peace talks that are being brought up by the president of Belarus, because you can't trust anybody involved in the talks. They're
Yeah.
untrustable. It's like asking Donald Trump to say something that he really means truthfully and from his heart. It can't be done. There's no way that that will ever happen. And Putin is the same animal.
And and that's the fear here is this war isn't going to be over in a year or a year and a half. That we're looking at something here that's going to go on as long as Afghanistan did. What was it between the Russians and Americans? 30 years
Yeah,
that this crap was going on, and president after president over there, and president after president over here got sucked into it.
20 years of war.
Yeah, for
And they put
what?
you on the day shift.
For
Yeah.
what?
And the government fell in 20 minutes. After
Did
20 years, it didn't take 20 minutes for the government to get in their Volgas and get out of Kabul.
Yeah, did we get? I mean, Did we eradicate terrorism? Did
We gave it a home.
did we get more oil? I mean, is gas down to 30 cents a gallon because we stayed? I mean, what was the benefit? Except
Opium.
except to the people that were making bombs and fighter jets and all this other stuff.
We paid 80% of the cost of the army. We paid their salary right out of our treasury. 80% of your salary as a general in the Afghan army was paid by the United States. And that's
Well,
why that's why when we left and we took our money with us, it took 20 minutes for the whole thing to come down.
and it's something that's always irked me because I said this even since the days of going into Iraq. If an Iraqi citizen is crossing the street and gets hit by a car, he's rushed to a hospital where American doctors and American nurses look at him, fix him up, and send him on his merry way.
And
If
then
you're walking down, I don't know, California Avenue there in Pasadena, and God forbid you get hit by a car, what's the first thing they ask you? Do you have insurance?
I just have this stabbing pain in my back. Well, that's the bumper, but we're not going to take it out till we know a little bit more about you.
Right. Everything's predicated on do you have insurance? Do you have this? Do you have coverage? Do you have that? It, 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 and we're in the United States. We're paying for their bill, and we're not getting anything. It's always seemed a little odd to me that would be. I mean, I don't mind helping people. Don't get me wrong. I think you got to do what you got to do to help people out, but you also got to take care of your people too.
In a sensible, reliable, intelligent, civilized fashion.
Uh,
Listen to me. I'm a Pollyanna.
Mikey, you have more intelligence in your thumb than most of the. I would hazard a guess that most of the people serving in our
And there
Senate.
it is. You can put
And
Tucker. You can put Tucker Carlson in my thumb, and there's still room for a walnut and an agent's heart.
I could tell you where you could stick that thumb on Tucker, but he wouldn't like it. I don't even think you would, to be
I
honest
don't.
with
I
you.
don't. I don't believe I would enjoy that. I can't. I can't see that one working out. Sorry.
What do you got happening this weekend, Pally?
What's going on? I'm going. I'm going shopping. I have to do all the stores. I got to get gas, food, pick up some items on the shopping list in a number of stores. I'm going out into the world. I'm going to wear a mask. I'm going to drive the car. I'm going to have my arm out the window and the window down, pretend that I'm living the carefree California life. And that's maybe I'll watch the Seattle Sea Dragons tomorrow. I don't know if that's it.
Yeah, I'm going to. I have to go do an interview tomorrow with a guy that used to listen to us when we were on KJR. Has a podcast, and I
Mhm.
told him I would come down and be a guest on his podcast.
Where does he
So
do it?
he does it at a sports bar in Renton, which immediately has trouble written all over it.
God, it has tragedy written all over it.
Yeah, but so I'll go down and see what kind of questions he's going to ask me and make some ruckus and rumble, and you know, then
Tell them about Smokey Burgess.
I'm good. I, yeah, without a doubt. I mean, how could anybody not believe that the Smokey Burgess rule is the one that's going to revitalize baseball?
Oh
That
yeah,
people are
there's
knocking
nothing
down
like this. The 10th inning is so exciting with a man at second base. You can't beat it
people are knocking down fences to get to the ballpark.
because it's their own fence,
It's like
but they can be helped.
one of my dad's favorite jokes. Every time we passed the cemetery, he'd say, "Hey, look, they're putting fences up around St. Mike's." I said, "Why, Dad?" "Oh, because people are dying to get in." Oh, lordy, lordy, lordy.
And who was Saint Mike?
St. Mike, St. Michael.
Oh, he was an archangel.
Yeah, I think so, wasn't he?
I didn't know he was a saint too.
Well, they have duality of like there's three or four St. Vincents. They have the St. Vincent de Paul, and then they have the St. Vincent of some other town. And I never,
Saint Vincent to Schenectady.
yeah, St. Vincent of Schenectady. And then I never knew this, but St. Vincent is the patron saint of winemakers.
Wow, I didn't know they usually. I never knew that. So if there's a bad harvest, you can blame it on the Catholics.
Blame it on St. Vincent.
Okay.
I didn't know this until just recently. I was reading something about St. Vincent, and as you can actually go and Google, saints' names or what they're patron saints of, and St. Vincent came up. There's like 4 or 5 different St. Vincents, and it came up the patron saint of wineries of
So
winemaking.
5 or 6 Saint Vincents, no waiting. You need a Saint Vincent. We got one for you.
I wonder if there's a drink named the St. Vincent. If not, I ought to invent one.
What's going to be in it? Let's start with ice.
Yeah, ice.
That's good. I'm done.
Yeah, I think we go right there. Ice. Oh, ice and natural grenadine syrup. No,
Oh, that's good. None
no
of that crap.
cornstarch. Yeah, none of the cornstarch stuff. You
The
got to
real
get the
deal.
$11 a bottle natural, made with cane sugar grenadine syrup.
I want to hear her. What do you call it? Shirley Temple. I want to hear Shirley Temple singing in the shower when you pour that grenadine.
There you go. A little grenadine, a little maraschino cherry juice,
Oh
a little
yeah,
ginger ale.
that's a great drink. I would like one of those. I think
I'll
I'll put that on my shopping list. Grenadine.
I'll have a tall one. Yeah, but you have to watch it because if you get the Giroux grenadine, it's loaded with corn syrup.
Don't want that.
But if you go to Whole Foods,
Mm.
yeah, they have. I think they have the natural one. They have it at the PCC here, which is like the natural food store. That you,
Is that the U district?
not well, they're all over the place. There's one right a couple of blocks from me. I don't know if
Right
they.
next. Is it right next door to Dick's? Can you do like one-stop shopping?
You could always, well, here you could because Six is right over there and the PCC is right over there. So yeah, you could do one-stop shopping.
See, the
If
Russians don't have this. The Russians don't have any of that.
Yeah, they don't have like drive through borscht
No, and they and
uh,
they could use it too.
things, and then yeah, what will make the Russians happy? Maybe that's a question we should ponder over the weekend. And next week, as we get to the anniversary of this war, I think it's the 20th, isn't it?
I can't believe it's been a year.
Yeah, I can't either, to be honest with you.
You know who really can't believe it's been a year? Are the Ruskies who started the damn thing. They're in more trouble than somewhat. This is really destabilizing their entire nation, economy, and leadership. And it's sad to see it go that way because an unstable country of that size is not a safe place.
Well, I'd rather it go that way than for them to have just rolled over. I mean, if you think of what the accomplishment is of the Ukrainians over the past year to keep
Extraordinary.
this guy at bay and to actually at times make it look like they were winning this damn thing. I don't know if they ultimately can win it, but
Well, the question that's a good question. Can the Ukrainians win it? But the question that the Russians asked themselves was, can they win it?
well,
And the
now
answer,
they do. They thought it was going to be a little 3 day jaunt through. They thought it was going to be like when we went through Iraq. What did it take us? 48 hours to take Iraq over?
yeah, we went over and tore down the statue and forgot to make friends with the Bath Party.
Right,
Oops.
right, right, right. Yeah, see, that's our problem. I mean, we go in and we just okay, we broke the place up for you. Now it's your chance. Now it's your turn to fix it.
Here's the key
Instead
to
of
everything that's American. It's right to tight, left to loosen. That's all you need to know. Let's go.
it's
Everybody,
all you
everybody,
need.
everybody, everybody into the gym. We're gonna do calisthenics. We're gonna take your name. Everybody's gonna get a new job. It's gonna be fabulous.
And a
You
new
can start you,
driver's license. Everybody's going to get a new driver's license.
and you got to show it when the cop pulls you, when the military police pull you over there on the airport road. You got to show your ID.
You got to do it. You got to do it. All right, Mikey. I think that we will wrap this thing up, and
You're gonna have a good show tomorrow.
I hope so. We're gonna try to hit the air at 8 o'clock, and we'll be talking about the Lexus RX 500 SUV, which is one of the better SUVs I've driven in a while. It's a hybrid. It has two motors in the back and one motor in the front.
Ooh.
So each wheel in the back has an electric motor, and then you have a regular gasoline motor that drives the front wheels.
Now, how
Uh,
many motors have you ever seen in a car? How
well,
many?
four.
Four. Wow.
Yeah. There's a couple of cars now have an electric motor at each wheel. And what I like about this Lexus that I'm driving this week is that it has rear wheel steering.
Aha.
So when you turn the wheel, the rear wheels kind of move a little bit. Which, if you're riding next to it, has to be a little bit scary.
Whatever happened to rack and pinion steering? I don't even know what that is.
Oh, it's still there. They still use it. They just, it's kind of the standard now. I mean, you don't see many cars out, if any, with, tie rods and all that kind of stuff, unless rack and pinion is the deal, and you can adjust it and play with the worm gear and get it, tighten it up, loosen it up a little bit. But
Tighten Up
it's,
by Archie Bell and the Drells.
yes! What was their
We,
follow up hit?
I have no idea.
I just can't stop dancing. Oh no.
Archie, what's wrong with you? Well, first of all, my band is called the Drells. That was a mistake. And
Yeah.
also, I can't stop dancing.
Right. I tightened up and now I can't get loose. And then wait, they also had what was their disco hit? They had a disco hit too. Right through everybody.
Does it
Oh,
have
I
anything to
can't.
do with dancing?
Yes, something to do with dancing. They were from Philly. They were dancing through life, Pally.
No, Archie Bell and the Drells were from Houston.
Oh, yes, they were. That's right. Well, they were on a Philly label then.
Okay, that's
Yeah,
good.
they had some tie to Philadelphia. Yeah, because in the beginning of the song they say, "Hi, we're Archie Bell and the Drellstrom. We're from Houston, Texas."
That's right. And we don't know where Philadelphia is. And if we did, we go and get our royalties. But we don't, so we can't get our royalties. So we dance as well as we walk.
They told us to see some big guy named Len Berry, and when we got there, he was big.
And he didn't have any money either.
Right? He said he's waiting for a check.
The Dovell's checks are they're just about ready to. When the Russians rescue the cosmonauts, Parkway Cameo is going to issue all those checks. All the back royalties will come out. They've been waiting to cut
Yeah,
them now for years.
we've got the money in a special fund.
Oh yeah, we got it. We got it.
It's in the Second National Bank of Bimini.
We've been building houses in Cherry, New Jersey for years based on your royalties.
Oh my God.
Cherry Hill.
Cherry Hill, yes. If all of the artists got their royalties, boy, be a hell of an interesting country, wouldn't it?
The balance of payments would shift in America.
Yeah, you'd have a lot of guys buying used vinyl. All right,
Well,
man. I will see you on Monday if the Lord's willing the creek don't rise.
I hope the creek doesn't rise, but if the Lord's willing, tell him to get busy, will you? This business about just being willing. I want some action.
He's got so much stuff going on. I mean, he's trying to keep everything together in Slovakia so that they can get that second road built, or the third road, really. And then, if it's the third road, why don't they just name it Route 3?
There's some things you don't understand about Slovakia. I don't understand them either. They make decisions based on their own internal ruminations. Doesn't make a lot of sense to a Westerner, but in Slovakia, this is how things are done.
Doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
That's why no chihuahuas.
No, oh no, man! If there's no chihuahuas, I don't know if I can go.
I know. I feel the same way about the poor little things.
You mess with my chihuahuas, man, you're messing with me. All right, I will catch up with you Monday morning if the Lord's willing the creek don't rise. Until then, Mikey, peace, love, Manischewitz, baby.
What a wine.
Thank you all for listening. Don't forget to hit the subscribe and the like button on YouTube, and we'll see you on Monday. Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye.